Hey guys, it's me again. I'm here for another collection update, and I got Dean with us. He hasn't been with us in forever. He doesn't really do my videos anymore. He always runs off and goes and plays with his toys. And I highly doubt he'll be here through this entire video, but up first is The Howling. Now, I have never seen this movie. Actually, I thought I had, but I hadn't. This is not what I thought it was. A couple of buddies of mine, Eric and Justin, decided that they were going to buy this at a used place we were at, and it got me thinking about buying it, but I did not want to pay the $4 price tag. Well, as you can see, oh, there we go. I actually paid $2.22 for that. I wanted to check it out since they were, they were saying this was such a great film, and I don't know. I've heard of it. I know what it is. Especially after I did research, I know what it is, but I didn't do any research. I'm full shit, but I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it is. I put it in thinking it was something it wasn't. It's not. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to see if it's any good, and, I don't know. We'll see. Who doesn't love a werewolf movie? Dean, quit chewing on your fingernails. Alright, and up next is Short Circuit. Now, Short Circuit's one of those movies that I absolutely love. It's cheesy, it's definitely 80s, and it is one of those movies that if you didn't grow up watching, you probably don't know what it is. This is the only thing that I can really remember ever sharing with my father being, well, let's just leave that to ourselves. But me and him watched this quite often, actually. He was into movies just as much as I was, but then he disappeared out of my life. Up next is CJ7. And this is made by the same people that made Kung Fu Hustle. Now, if you've never seen that, you should probably check it out because it's pretty good too. Regrettably, I don't own that. And they made something else, something soccer, and they may have made something after this. I don't know if they did or not. If this director did or not, I'm sure he did, but I don't know if it's in the same comedy, same kind of cheeseball comedy as this. But with that said, I discovered this movie a long time ago by accident, and I loved it. Well, let's fast forward 3 years, which would have been 2 years ago. I seen this at my local used movie store that I go to quite regularly. I passed. For some reason, I want that, but nah. But I don't think I was collecting like I was. I wasn't I definitely wasn't collecting like I am now then too, because I've been collecting for about 3 years, but not really. It was mainly Blu-rays up until about 2 years ago, 3 years ago. No, about a year and a half ago. But now I'm collecting, DVD too. I don't know why I subjected myself to just Blu-ray, because there's so many titles that'll never be on Blu-ray. But anyway, so I seen this movie sitting there, and I overlooked it. Well, I can remember going back about a year ago to check this out, to look for this. And I went in there and it wasn't there. Of course it wasn't there. I mean, it's been a year, right? Well, fast forward another year, just last week, I go in there with my wife, and we're just kind of blowing off some time. She's getting annoyed because I'll spend hours in there. I never get to go out on my own and look for movies. It don't work that way for me. Well, I'm just not that lucky, like some of you out there. But I do have a kid, and well, that's part of it. And I guess I win in the end. But anyway, I go back and I find this in their clearance section for $2.22. Yeah, I would say this is the same copy, because what's the chances of me seeing that and then this ended up back on the clearance section? It had clearly been there forever. There was an inch of dust on it. So in the end, I did get it even 2 years later. It may not have been the same copy, but I like to think it is the same copy. It makes me feel good. Now the next few I'll just go through real quick. I won't spend all day on, and that is the Natalie Holloway movie. This is hilarious that I even own this. I'm just going to say my wife. We all, a lot of you out there know how it is. My wife wanted this, so we picked it up. I find it funny. I'm sure this was a Lifetime movie, and I'm sure this is completely trash. Needless to say, I will check it out eventually, and You never know. I might like it. If any of you have seen it, please let me know. Let me know if it's any good. Up next is the Puppet Master. It's the Puppet Master. That's a 9-disc, or not 9 discs, 2 discs for 9 movies. Good deal, especially seeing as I paid $5. But here's the bad news. This transfer on the first film's okay. Transfer on the rest of the films are alright. Except for Puppet Master 2. It's awful. Almost unbearably watchable. Good news is this is on Hulu. Bad news is if I had known this was on Hulu, I wouldn't have picked this up. I would have picked it up later. I like to own hard copies of everything, whether it's on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, or any of those. I still want to own a hard copy. That's just me. I like to support the studios, and not just that. There's something about owning a hard copy that's just different than watching it on TV. I don't know. I'm a little bit weird. Every time I buy a new movie, I smell it. You know, I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Anyway, there's just something different. You know what I mean? There's just something different. But I'm definitely gonna have to repurchase this now because you cannot watch these. They're watch. Okay, the reason I bought it is because I wanted to watch them right now. I wanted to see them now. I didn't want to wait and rent them. I didn't know I was accessible on Hulu. Every one of these are on Hulu. I didn't know it was accessible through Hulu. If I had known that, yes, I would have picked this up. Or I wouldn't have picked this up. My plan was to pick this up for $5 and buy the Blu-rays as they start to come out. If they come out, I think 1, 2, and 3 are on Blu-ray. It might just be 1 and 2. But moving on. If you're interested in this, Echo Bridge put out a terrible release on this. I think it was Echo Bridge. Yes, it was. Other people were complaining about it all over the web, but what are you going to do? Oh, and to boot, only 2 of these out of the 9 are widescreen. That's the first and number 9. Yeah. I don't mind it. I can deal with it. But it aggravates me a little bit considering they are supposed to be in the widescreen format. Anyway, up next is Empire Records. I picked this up solely based on the fact that I watched it as a kid and I wanted to rewatch it. And Wet Movie 1, if you know who he is, he kind of recommended it. And then up next is Pursuit of Happiness. Now, I watched this as a kid. Or not a kid. I watched this when it first came out, when it first released on DVD. Haven't seen it since. This is one of those movies that I've been wanting to pick up. I just never got around to it. I was pretty happy that I found this movie. One of Will Smith's finer films. This is not one of my favorite actors. Up next is, I'm going to save the best for last. So up next is The Warriors. If you like The Warriors, and it holds a special place in your heart, do not buy the director's cut. This, in my opinion, is shit. I do not like the comic panels that they added into the... Well, not gangster. I do not like the comic panels that they added into this. Instead of cutting away to the next scene, they added like this comic panel and explained like in one word what was going on, and it takes away from the film. You go from a dark and gritty film. Don't get me wrong, beautifully gritty. The grittiness is necessary. It wouldn't work without it. But it goes from gritty, which I love, to this clean comic book panel look, and it's just jarring. I hated it. I have never complained once about a director's cut of any film. I don't usually get bothered by it. You're a stinker. I love you. But I've never been once bothered by a director's cut. Never. I can say that I have now. It sucks they did that. And then up last but not least is The Fly. And if you've never seen The Fly, basically this guy, this is the original version, by the way. The guy develops a teleportation device, and he tries to teleport from one end of his room to the other. He's a scientist, obviously. And a fly gets in the machine. And his DNA mixes with the fly's DNA. And they become two separate creatures. Both are pretty... One's a monster, one's him trying to move on with his life, I guess you could say. I don't know. Trying to figure out how to become human again. He's human, but not quite. And with that said, I appreciate each and every one of you guys watching. We will see you next time. Please subscribe. That's what he said. Please subscribe. Can you really turn this pretty little face down? Alright, please subscribe, guys. Later. Bye.
Bye. Now we're trying.